80% of manufacturers, 80% of retailers, 70% of healthcare organizations are already using interactive digital technologies. For example, Bow Valley College recently just launched this program where the students can put on the VR headset and they can interact with patients.
So hello and welcome to a new episode of Launchcast. Yes, I'm back as the host because Mikio doesn't want to take that, but that's another conversation. So my name is Andre and I work with the marketing team here at Launchcode, and today we're so excited. So Launchcode became part of the tech industry in Alberta more than a decade ago, as you guys know, and we have only seen the industry grow here with more and more tech giants coming in, and of course new emerging startups, which is actually quite cool, right? I would like going to that. That's so cool. So our episode today have a very special guest, and we are going to explore, we're going to talk about this industry growth, right after the cool animation. Today I have with me here the Digital Alberta Executive Director, Alecia Peters. Hello. Is that correct?
Yes.
Alecia Peters?
That's correct.
Such a nice name, right?
Thank
Peters.
you.
Whenever we finish with Peters, it's so cool. and Program Manager back at Launchcode's office, our great friend Paisley Churchill.
Hello, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. It's great to have you here. Awesome. Okay, so, and Paisley, we have to come back a little bit because we have to consider that our audience, maybe they don't know what Digital Alberta is, right? So, and today the Launchcast is all about Digital Alberta. We want to make sure that we understand what you do, who you are, and what you aspire to be. So, where does Digital Alberta and your work fit in the larger tech ecosystem, which also it is a little bit, what is Digital Alberta at the end of the day?
Yeah, so Digital Alberta, like you introduced us as, is the Interactive Digital Media Association for Alberta. And so that is generally the piece that you get to touch and feel and interact with. So AR, VR, and gaming, it's some of these really interactive technologies. And a lot of people think kind of in terms of entertainment, which is a huge part of the sector, but it's also how those technologies are being applied in industry. So we have some energy companies, we have healthcare, we have transportation logistics that are also adopting some of these technologies to train their workers, to create safer environments, to create digital twins that they can interact with, build better technologies, tell different stories to their users. So there's also a whole post-production side, there's a whole marketing side. So interactive digital media is not really separate from technology. All technology companies have a way that they interact with their users. We just really focus on the really interactive technologies and the companies that are using them.
Yeah.
So it's not industry specific. And so our role is to shine a light on all the great work that's happening in Alberta. Gaming is a huge part of that. That sector is growing immensely. And then all the other things happening around training, learning and development, different industries. And our goal is also to grow the tech talent pipeline that goes into interactive digital media. So, there's always been a big push on software developers and getting more tech talent into the province, but there's some really unique skill sets that are necessary in interactive digital media. When you look at animation and you need people to rig up the AR, VR simulations, you need people who can develop in Unity and develop games and use Unreal Engine and some of these really niche technologies. So we also are working with a lot of stakeholders to ensure that we're growing those really niche types of talent as well. And then some of our stakeholders in some of our verticals. So there's the AR VR Association that we work closely with. Our economic development counterparts focus on different technologies. Like Edmonton has a Edmonton Screen Industries office, and Calgary has Calgary Economic Development, and they focus on their markets to grow the entertainment and film industries and video game sectors in their respective cities. And so we're working kind of with all of these different partners to grow and bring the whole tide up in the province of Alberta.
Got it. Wow, that was very well explained. Okay, let me have a follow-up question, and okay, just to clarify to the people listening to us now. So the digital transformation of the digital technology, that's a very broad term. right? And there's so many things inside of that, right? And so many different roles, so many different skills, like skill sets, right? So what Digital Alberta is doing actually, okay, so the focus on Digital Alberta, we're talking about specific skill sets here. So arvr, that's an example, right? The other one you just mentioned, sorry, Jesus, what is the other one?
Digital twinning.
The digital twinning, right? The new word, at least for me. And then for gaming, and then animation, right? All of that is inside digital technology in a sense. But what you're saying is that Digital put a focus on these niches here. That's what I'm getting from it.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you want to weigh in, Alecia?
Yeah, I think what we see is that there really is a shared talent between different subsectors of that tech ecosystem. And so, we're capacity building at each stage that you're intersecting with students in their learning journey. So even at a high school level, there's opportunity for, STEAM skill development that feeds into and creating opportunities for exposure to things like, what the opportunities are afforded and career paths available in, for instance, gaming. And we actually, a great example would be we hosted a gaming webinar recently where one of our participants, she worked in oil and gas working on simulations. And she took that skill set, right? And she crosswalked that skill set into gaming. And so we're seeing this really, because the technology is now so prevalent and being deployed in all of these different subsectors of the tech ecosystem, we're seeing this amazing opportunity where we're seeing a transfer of skills. And we want to ensure that we continue to capacity build in those areas so that students are equipped and that the programs are available for them to develop immersive technology skill sets so that they can have an opportunity to work in this, growing field in Alberta. We want to ensure the long-term, growth of the sector. And so by really working on building that next gen of talent, we're ensuring we get that shared prosperity that we're looking for in the province.
Absolutely. So okay, so let's consider one person try to pivot, right? So you know what? And then I'm interested. Maybe I want to kind of I want to code for games. Yeah. Okay, let me put it this way. So can they reach out to Digital Alberta? What do they need to do?
Our role is really to work with the companies and to grow the sector at a company level. So we don't typically have a lot of conversations with individuals, but what we can do is direct them to the resources that they need to go. So Calgary Game Developers Association, Game Camp Edmonton, these are organizations at more of a local level that are going to have meetups and events that you can start connecting in with others that are in the gaming industry and start learning kind of about their journeys. There's lots of great programs from the post-secondaries like we mentioned, and then there's a lot of online coding courses that you can take that are free. So Unity has some on their website that you're just able to take and start by yourself. There's a great company called Circuit Stream. Thank you. Circuit Stream. Yeah, and they have a great 7-month program.
Really?
To teach arvr. Yeah.
Really? For beginners?
Yeah.
Yeah, for beginners.
And they also have a gaming program too. And so there's a lot of exciting things happening and great ways to pivot your career. And I think the other interesting thing about gaming and interactive digital media is it's not just tech roles that are in demand. There's also a huge need for producers, which is kind of like the equivalent of a product manager, but they're really helping the whole team to kind of move forward. But it's not necessarily a technical role. It's something that individuals with a business background or a communications background can step into as an entry into kind of more of the technical companies, but not really having those, programming skills potentially.
Absolutely. But here's another question. I'm assuming there are similar organizations doing the same thing for other provinces, right?
Yeah.
And other parts of the country, right?
Yep.
Do you guys cooperate with them? You don't? How does it work?
Absolutely. So we work with our counterparts across the country, like DigiBC, Interactive Ontario, Sask Interactive, and we come together through national associations. So we're part of the Entertainment Software Association of Canada. We're also part of the Canadian Interactive Alliance. we share an understanding of, best practices in our ecosystem, but also advocacy and understanding what the opportunities are at a national level for Canada when it comes to interactive digital technology, and making sure that message is reinforced, at all levels of government, because there's a huge economic opportunity at hand, and there's things that are happening that, our government invests in, like the Canada Media Fund, and it's an opportunity for us to highlight our members at a national stage and some of the issues and opportunities that we see, around talent development when it comes to, immigration policies and things like that. So we align with them. It helps create a stronger message, just in terms of what's going on here in Canada and the role that Alberta companies are playing in that, in the growth of the sector.
That's awesome. So, quick question: how long this whole movement has been happening? What we're talking here?
Yeah, we've been supporting the digital community for 15 years.
15 years.
So that, we've really evolved as an association as technology in the ecosystem has advanced. So, what was once maybe more from like digital marketing roots has really grown into this immersive technology and creative technology space that we're seeing applied across sectors. And it's been a pretty exciting journey to come to where we are today at a point of inflection where we really see the applications are immense. And we're starting to see, small and medium-sized businesses thinking about how they're adopting immersive technologies. And so it's a perfect time for us, I think, to help shine a light on the resources that are available and, support our members in their growth journeys in adopting the technology and also just scaling their businesses and studios.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, besides the application on the gaming industry for like right away AR and VR, it's just so like straightforward. What kind of how do you see these technologies, let me put it this way, apply to businesses, right? To companies. Can we talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people don't realize how widely it's already adopted. So we have some stats here actually. So it's 80% of manufacturers, 80% of retailers, 70% of healthcare organizations are already using interactive digital technologies. So there's even tons of AR/VR companies in Alberta that are working with clients. For example, Bow Valley College recently just launched this program where the students can put on the VR headset and they can interact with patients. So they're in the nursing program and they have a patient sitting on the bench. They have 8 different avatars that'll come in. It feels so real. We had a great demonstration. They can go and they use the VR controller and it shows where on the patient they need to check the heart rate, they need to check on the back, they need to check different things, and it guides them through. And then as they continue to use the software, it filters out some of the prompts each time until the student can do it on their own. And so they're able to practice in a real life setting. It's a lot safer, more hygienic during COVID times. It provides them a lot of time to practice without being in a clinical setting. And then we're also seeing like digital twinning in construction is massive. So before they even build a building nowadays, it's all built virtually. All the piping, all the lumber, everything is put together in a digital environment first, so you can kind of work out the kinks, understand what doesn't fit where. Oftentimes you can even walk through these spaces in virtual reality, and it just really helps to cut a lot of costs to do with the building and the rebuilds. It helps people to make design choices, and it really helps to bring it to life. So those are just 2 examples, and it's being used in every industry.
Yeah, thinking of like the economic impact, like the projected digital spend for Alberta through our major industries is, 20 billion by 2024, I believe. So if you think about like what's unique to Alberta is that we've got this really strong business to business ecosystem in that we represent primary industries like ag, transportation, energy, health. And so we have major capital expenditure that's happening in this province, and that's being deployed through how their industries are transforming, which means opportunities, for growing technology companies offering solutions to these industries. So it's a really exciting time, I think, for the province. And, we want to continue to talk about that, and we want to continue to provide resources and support for those companies, not only so that they're able to connect with the amazing startups and technologies and innovation that's coming out of Alberta, but also like supporting their journey in digital transformation.
That is amazing. It's remarkable. So I've read somewhere that in 2021, the gaming industry was larger than the music and films industry combined.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, the gaming industry globally is a $200 billion opportunity.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and like just thinking about the growth, like even through, the course of the pandemic, fueled the growth of the gaming sector, and that, there's 23% growth, I think, since 2019. From a national perspective, it's a $5.5 billion contribution to Canada's GDP and 32,000 jobs that are...
How many jobs, sorry?
32,000 from
32,000
fueled by
jobs.
the sector.
That's only gaming industry?
That's only the gaming industry. And that really, honestly, we're going to blow that out of the water. There's 3 billion players globally. We're seeing that, we're just seeing that interest and engagement, and as well just rolling in new technologies. And you only have to look at like CES this year to see the role that virtual reality is going to play in the gaming sector. We see Lenovo entering, we see Sony coming out with their new VR headset. It's going to be more readily available to consumers, which is just going to continue to fuel growth.
And I think what's interesting is people often say, how are there that many people gaming? And I even said that before I really understood the sector, until you realize that gaming isn't necessarily just playing shooter games on a console. It's the games you play on your phone. It's Candy Crush, and when you realize that all of these different things are true gaming, and there's companies that are not only building these great products, but they're also maintaining them long term, which is something you don't have in a movie industry. When the film's done, production wraps. But in the gaming industry, it's longer term jobs because somebody still has to maintain. Oftentimes they're releasing new levels. There's community management. So it's longer term jobs, and that's what's kind of interesting too.
Okay, so I'm talking about gaming, and gaming is something that's close to my heart. My kids game, I game with them, I love it. And I know you recently organized the Alberta Game Series in Calgary, right? And then we took a look on your social media channels. The response was amazing. So the question is...
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I know we talked about the video game industry in Canada. And I know we talked about that in the world. I want to hear from you. How is that in Alberta? How does it look like in here?
Well, it's a lot bigger than most people realize. So there's well over 100 studios. I think the last study done was 2018 or 2019 that showed 100 studios. And we know there's been significant growth since then. So we have AAA presence, we have AA presence, we have EA Games, Beamdog, Inflection Games are some of the bigger studios. Then we have a massive indie scene as well, a lot of smaller studios that are bootstrapped or getting Canada Media Fund to start smaller projects. So there's a very healthy ecosystem here. We have some of the lightning rods of the bigger studios, especially when EA purchased BioWare. We saw an exodus of some of the initial founders of BioWare going out and starting their own studios, which has been amazing and really helped to kind of pollinate the ecosystem.
Exactly. That's what we want to see. We want to see, that talent coming out with that experience of, working at a smaller studio that then, is acquired or, grows and gets a major investment. And they take that experience and they might go start their own studio or might, migrate within the ecosystem to share that expertise with another studio to help them grow. We want to see ultimately more studios launched in Alberta and ensure that we're doing things like the Alberta Game Series that are going to help them on that journey through bringing in speakers from other ecosystems so they can share best practices on the experiences they've had, those learning opportunities and opportunity for showcasing their games and getting feedback from the community on that and building relationships and networking is really what makes us have a vibrant community. And ultimately, I think what helps people, be successful in their
Agree.
in their journeys.
That was very well said. That's pretty cool.
And we're also seeing a huge uptake in investment from the Canada Media Fund in Alberta companies, which is kind of unheard of for the last few years that we've had this experimental stream. So if you don't know, the Canada Media Fund supports Canadian-made entertainment, film, television products.
Nice.
So over the last couple of years, they kind of evolved, and it has this experimental stream that now funds video games. And so traditionally, it was a lot of Ontario and Quebec companies that were getting the bulk of the money, and maybe a sprinkling of Alberta companies. But this year we had the highest number ever of Alberta companies that received funding, from a $10,000 kind of experimentation concepting grant all the way up to larger sums of money to actually go into production for these games. So once
that's specific for the gaming industry, you're saying, right?
This, this
I know it's not
just for
specific,
gaming.
but the examples you're giving are specific to the gaming industry.
It's for just gaming companies that have received funding. And so when you hear exciting things like that happen, we know a year, 2, 3 down the line, when they're finished those developments, we're going to see more games launch, more buzz. There's going to be more companies that can showcase their products. It takes a long time to build a video game, so it doesn't happen overnight, but we're starting to see some really positive signals.
Do you see more studios being open over the last years in Alberta? I know you kind of answered that. So what are we talking about here? Do we have more studios either opening a small, you said lightning rod? That's the term you use?
Yes.
I'm assuming this is was that a branch?
Well, a lightning rod is when a large company, maybe a multinational, somebody with a big name and a big presence comes into the market. They often attract a lot of talent. They often bring in some of their own talent. And then it kind of helps to germinate the rest of the ecosystem when people leave that place, or eventually if it gets sold or it gets large investment, people are walking away with money, and they often reinvest into opening other studios.
Got it. Okay.
Like, I mean, we've got some really interesting global companies that have made investments in the gaming ecosystem. Like Tencent would be a good example. Their market cap is $235 billion.
They're so big.
And, they invested in Inflection Games.
They did.
And Inflection Games just had launched their latest trailer for Nightingale at the Game Awards.
Nightingale, amazing. Not my type of game,
trailer.
but I loved it.
It looks so cool.
It looks amazing.
If you ever get the opportunity, go to their office in Edmonton. The Nightingale art is everywhere, and it's so cool.
No way.
Very cool.
You're in Edmonton?
Yeah, they're Edmonton.
Okay, so see, folks, there's so much more in the gaming entertainment industry in Alberta that we have to know more. So let's no worries. I still have some questions, so just hold on. So one last thing about the gaming industry, and that's a comment actually. So back on the days, there was a small studio called Naughty Dog, right? So what Naughty Dog did, amongst other things, because they did a bunch of stuff, they released a game called Uncharted. It became a movie, right? The movie was okay. The game is awesome. And I played 4 of them back on the days. It was like, how they're doing this on a PS3. And then later on, they released something called The Last of Us.
Yes.
Yeah, so there you go.
People don't know that it came from a game, right?
They don't know.
Yesterday,
I've watched
post-production happening with,
I've watched the first episode yesterday.
Wasn't it good?
Don't spoil it for me.
I'm not going to spoil. I'm a big fan of the games. I play all of them. And then yesterday, I've watched the first episode of HBO. And for a gamer like myself, someone that is an aficionado, the way I watch something like that is like Silence in the Room, right? I'm going to have this expression. It was an hour and 20 minutes episode. It's almost a movie. Flawless from beginning to end. I saw Calgary everywhere. It was like, I know that what it is. It's funny. It is so funny that you're sitting there. So how exciting is that if you think about digital Alberta for sure, but as Albertans and people that live here. And also related to the gaming industry. It all started with a game. Just think about that. How exciting is that?
That's amazing.
And it's one of the highest budgeted TV shows ever.
Okay, so I'm hypothetically, I'm actually looking to open my gaming studio. Or, you know what? Not a gaming studio. I wanna start a company focused on VR. Because I see so many applications for healthcare, right, as you said before. Okay, so here's my question. There have been conversations in the political circles about bringing back tax credits. Okay, like it kind of looks promising. Do you know anything? Can you share anything about that?
So for the past few years, Digital Alberta has been that one clear voice advocating for interactive digital technology with various levels of government. And that's really essential in ensuring that we have the foundation to see the sector grow and to retain investment and jobs in Alberta. And so over the last few months, in particular, we've had some really great dialogue and engagement with the government of Alberta. Minister Glubish and his team has been very collaborative in listening to the concerns of industry. And we've got a fantastic advocacy committee that's really been able to kind of share what the economic impact and importance is to the future growth of the sector. So, I would say at this point, we're very optimistic. We were very happy to hear the reference to the tax credit in the throne speech earlier this year. And we're hopeful that when the budget is dropped in the end of February, that, we may see details of that labor-based tax credit.
Okay, that's exciting then.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
it's very exciting, and I think that the community is really mobilized and wants to see that the policy environment is in place, right? That's needed that kind of is in alignment with our counterparts across the country.
What are the goals here? And just a little bit about the short term and long term. What could expect from Digital Alberta?
Sure. So our goal is to create the most vibrant, inclusive, diverse digital media ecosystem in the province. We want to be the connectors and the supporters of all the companies in all sectors that are working with these amazing, forward-looking technologies, these cutting-edge hardware, softwares, all these things that are coming together to create amazing immersive digital experiences. We want to work with those companies, ensure that they have the right tools in place, they have the right connections, the right policy environment, and just everything that they need to succeed, so that when people think of Alberta, they think of a high-tech, futuristic, digital, cohesive environment.
Oh, wow.
Love it.
That's very well said.
And I would add to that, really, that we're committed to doing what it takes to build that next gen of talent needed to fuel the sector. So we're eager to work with post-secondary institutions. That means capacity building at the onset in K-12 curriculum. And we're going to partner with those organizations that are in that space to ensure that we're developing that STEAM talent and creating opportunities to showcase the amazing career paths that are available, because we want to retain the awesome talent that's being developed in Alberta to help, grow this sector.
Absolutely.
And this has been amazing. So hopefully a bunch more people now know what an amazing sector we have in video games and immersive technologies, and they kind of have a new thought when they think about our tech ecosystem here and all the opportunities. So thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is a pleasure. It was so exciting. It was such a cool conversation.
Yeah.
I love talking about games, so it's easy for me.
It's fun.
But it's not
fun job.
It's a fun job. It's not only about the gaming industry here,
Yeah.
right? So yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was really, really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
much
you.
appreciated. So, a company it's interested in knowing more, what they should do.
Yeah, they should reach out to us. We have a newsletter that they should sign up for, so that they're getting all the latest information on the amazing programming that we're developing and the awesome events that we host, so they can engage with the community. They can book a one-on-one meeting with us through that newsletter, and of course always navigate our resources on the website, and we have email info on there that they can use to connect with us.
And then follow us on LinkedIn. That's where we share a lot of the great things that are happening in the community with our partners and all the great events that you can connect with us on.
Absolutely.
Okay. So of course, thank you for watching us. When you like this video, what happens is that the algorithm helps us to deliver this message to people that are interested about this topic. Okay. If you put a comment over there, we're gonna make sure that we reply to it and whatever it is. And of course, as you do, because we see the stats, you always share the videos. Keep sharing. Send it to everyone if you think that person is interested about that. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new episodes. And important to say, we also have a very nice newsletter. This newsletter's day. Subscribe to Digital Alberta's newsletter. It's on the website, right? You go to the website,
You bet.
and then you're going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And also subscribe to our bi-weekly newsletter. Now it's bi-weekly.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of work from the team. It's a really cool one. It's tech related. Launch post. We promise you're not selling anything. We really just want to educate and give nice information. You can find on our LinkedIn page how to subscribe for that. It's going to reach your inboxes on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of every month with news from the tech world and sometimes a little bit of what we do, right? So follow us also on other social channels as LinkedIn, as you do, and as Digital Butter. You can find them. And then you're gonna have tech industry context just right in front of you. Okay, that's it. Until next time, and watch Last of Us. It's a nice tip for the day. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.